Alright, getting the black pieces and opponent opening up with queen pawn. And against this, we're just gonna be basically playing like London system with colors reversed. I definitely have played this quite a bit. This is not part of the chessable course on the London, but actually I have this thought of maybe making a course to how to play the London on against any like non-e4 opening. Could be a pretty nice idea to sort of simplify your repertoire. I think it's a pretty effective strategy. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna be doing this. Gonna be playing Karo Khan and Slav against anything else. And with Slav, I mean the London with colors reversed. H6 now, forcing him to either take on f6 or go back. Bishop h4 is famous to run for g5 and we win the piece. Against that, I think just bishop d6 is kind of nice now. If they take, we take with a pawn, get nice control over e5. If they don't, take on f4. Okay, I will accept the free pawn. Don't know how that was a good idea for him, but we will take those. Ready to castle next. And now that we won a pawn, I think I'm gonna be applying one of my favorite strategies to just start exchanging all the pieces. If you came here for entertaining chess, that's not a place to be. We're gonna be literally swapping everything, getting into a king and pawn endgame, and we're gonna be winning thanks to the extra pawn. That is generally how it works. Okay, getting myself castled. Still not willing to take, even though I could. Waiting for him to develop his knight somewhere and then we could trade. Expecting like knight c3. Wow, he goes for the bishop. I mean, I'm afraid we won't really make it into the endgame if he keeps giving me stuff. I'll take it. So, okay, I mean, I can see in my opponent's picture that he's holding a glass of something that appears to be wine. Maybe this could explain the over-optimistic play, but I'm just gonna go bishop e4. And with that, I'm pinning. And whenever they move the knight, we're ready to trade. Queen e2. Can just support the bishop. Could also play queen f6. Anything wins. I think I'll just do queen f6. Developing my queen and connecting rooks. Could break with c5. Yeah, so he just plays rook e1. So I think I'll just try to keep it simple. Take on f3, play c6. Go e5. Could do rook e8 as well. Could push in the center with e4 after, if he does not take. I think basically we're gonna be breaking with e5 sooner or later. I think that one we have figured out. So he's wanting to do that. Okay, actually, I'm not sure I wanna do e5 at all. Like, we don't need it. Sure, it's playable. But like here, we have to watch out for queen g4 now. So my instinct tells me to play king h8. And now in case of f4, could use the c5 break and just chip away at this pawn. I think that looks like a reasonable plan. Could also meet f4 with rook g8, maybe even nicer, putting pressure onto the file. If he goes f5, maybe idea is to stack the bishop and play for the attack. f5 is never a good move because I have at least e5, but this really makes me want to go for some sacrifice, like bishop takes. Pawn takes, rook takes, king f2, queen h4 looks pretty tempting. I mean, let's just have a little bit of fun and go for that without calculating too much. How bad can this be? Okay, opponent holding a glass of wine. We need to throw something at him. Can we go in bishop takes? Can take with a pawn? I assume that's like the only candidate move. Unless He's gonna hit me with some bishop takes on f7 unexpected stuff. King of bishop h2 then maybe. Double check. That's like pretty funny. He'll have to take and then we mate. So yeah, check. Where is he going? King f2 I think best try, but queen h4 and I'm gonna have a lot of unpleasant discoveries, I think. Don't see exactly how we win, but assume there should be something, and probably now the easiest would be to actually just bring the rook, you know? We're gonna be playing that kind of chess where just use our pieces, no calculation involved, just slowly bring all the guys to the party and gonna be getting a checkmate pretty soon. Could have taken on g1 and rook g8 check, but I think this is as deadly as that. And now if he takes, it's mate in 2, mate on g1. If he doesn't, well, probably the same. Rook f3 is pretty funny pattern, and let's say he moves away, we have rook f3 and king takes queen g3 mate. That will be kind of unpleasant for my opponent, I think. So yeah, he plays that, I told you earlier. Now queen f4 is like nicest mate. He's forced to play queen f3. And then we are going to be taking it without queen. And that should lead to a checkmate, as far as I can tell. So, yeah, get that on the board, and we managed to get this one in. Getting the black pieces, and opponent opening up with c4, going for the English opening. Wasn't necessarily expecting that, but we're gonna be playing the Slav defense against everything. So basically Slav defense plus Karo-kan, so you can just do c6 d5 against no matter what white does, and you can get a decent game. Gonna develop my stuff. If still he plays d4, I'm gonna go for the same bishop f5. And against this, is gonna do same thing, play e6, make a luft, play knight e7. Yeah. Getting more of like a reti kind of game. 97 just developing, so I could make a luft perhaps. Yeah, let's just do the luft. Okay. Whenever they do this take, I think we capture with the e-pawn like all the time. The only question that I have is whether he can go for e4 or not. Sacrifice the pawn. Perhaps I shouldn't have allowed that. Yeah, now after ed. e4 I think can be a good move, so maybe it was a bit more accurate to start with bishop e7. So when they play knight e4, you can just step back and okay, now we can push maybe same e4 idea. I was a bit surprised because like opponent played a lot of like really good moves. Now I think we need to he's slowing down. He could still do b3 bishop b2, but yeah, I just think that queen doesn't belong on that square. I think we can at least agree on that, and we're just gonna be developing our pieces slowly, just castling, rook 8, bishop f8. It's one of the ideas. Just looking for a solid game. Also could consider g5 ideas in some position to exploit this queen, but for now I think we should just focus on normal play. Okay, goes knight f5, hunting my bishop. So could get rid of the knight, could let him take. Pretty tricky decision. My instinct says we should play rook e8 and just ignore it. But also, maybe taking is fine because that bishop on h7 might not be the most active one. I have a feeling we could take, but then the only thing that's kind of bothering me is whether he can start expanding. So from that perspective, I would like to play rook e8, just mostly countering this e4 push. Even though he can take, at least he won't have an easy time pushing e4. So when they do go for the knight sack, this is definitely a candidate move, but the queen alone does not checkmate as a rule of thumb. So in order to do these kind of things, you need to have more pieces in order to sustain the attack. So we have already 3 defenders, more than enough to tell that white's attack shouldn't go very far. And okay, you can see that in these rating ranges, you can basically just play solid, and opponents will typically ruin their possession, like it was in this case. Now I'm considering Rook e5 as a move, but then the queen can simply go away. Um, yeah, like now with the extra piece, to get a very easy win, we just need to trade queens. Maybe just expand with d4. Hit the knight, and okay, now knight e4 is not great because of knight e4, and we force queens off. And that's basically just getting exactly where we want. If we can trade queens, see, that's just gonna be an easy win. Also, he did not have such an appealing knight move. Like knight a4 is getting trapped maybe, or knight d1 is very passive, loses the pawn. The knight e4 kind of forced, but we take, trade queens. Now with the extra piece, all the end games are gonna be an easy win. So that's usually the simplest strategy to apply when you have extra material. Just go for the trades. Just keep it simple. No need to try to make the game fun if you're having the extra material. I mean, if you're into that, sure, you can do it, but if you're more focused to get like the best result possible, definitely trading is the way to go. Taking it upon, doubling up. So basically without queens, it's not like he really had a huge attack there, but without queens on the board, it's pretty obvious he won't have any compensation for the sacrificed piece. Now we even get to trap the bishop, which is pretty funny. And rook f2 runs into bishop d4, even funnier. So gonna take up to extra pieces. He's trying to lock my bishop. He can still like maneuver it around with bishop f8, so I'm just preparing to infiltrate using all of my pieces. And yeah, just gonna keep this guy. Idea to go to c5, double up and checkmate on h2. So not really much that the opponent can do. Okay, sort of a nice trick that he could try g6. He's still losing, but in these kind of losing positions, I would say you should go for these kind of tricks like all the time. Because okay, if opponent blunders, you go f7 and you get a queen and win. But if opponent doesn't blunder, you lose, which is like the case anyways. But at least you try sort of like the last bullet. Here, of course, anything else is just an easily losing. It's just about trying to, yeah, pose as many traps and problems to your opponent as you can, basically. So, you can double up, you can go for the check. Many tempting options. Honestly, easiest one would be to bring the king to g6 as there's no mate, and that's just kind of easy, but just gonna infiltrate. I think that's sort of nice. And yeah, let's see what he's planning to do. We could potentially play this on the next move, or simply knight e5. We should be winning this slowly. Rook h2, threatening mate in 1. So yeah, he goes to e1. Now, if we want to trade, we can go rook h1, but I think we can keep. Also knight e5 looks good. Threatening knight d3. Going for the fork, and then also potentially getting the checkmate. And if he goes rook f1, there is rook e2 mate or knight d3 mate, both. We're fine. So yeah, not just knight d3, forcing king f1, and we're gonna be having checkmate on the back rank with rook to h1, and we managed to get this one in. Let's just go for the next one, and we get another black game. I'm gonna be trying out another Karokan. I was about to say, let's do d5. Against d4, just gonna go for this, stepping in the center, and well, looks like we're running into the Jobava London maybe, or maybe just some knight c3 opening. Oh, gonna play knight f6, see what opponent has in store for us. Typically, we could just play London system with reversed colors against any non-e4 opening. But okay, he goes e4 now. So I think taking with a pawn is fine. Taking with a knight might be even a bit more precise. So yeah, I think I kind of studied both. Remember somehow taking with a pawn works best. After f3 we take. We just accept the gambit. Forgot what the name of this was, but I definitely have some analysis on it. Also from the white side, even though I didn't get to play it much. And okay, against bishop e3, I think against this gambit, fianchetto works pretty well. Um, well, we could also play like a c6 kind of Slav move. Hmm. Okay. I think I could just develop my bishop, honestly. I'm just gonna play like normal human being, trying to get my pieces developed, get e6 without like making the bishop passive, and go for like bishop e7, c6, short castle. Yeah, he's preparing the g4 push. Could do h5 if I'm like worried about it, but I think we can just ignore it, honestly. I don't think we need to be afraid of ghosts because that is also gonna be kind of weakening for white. If he tries h4, I think we have a choice between both h6 and h5. Just need to not allow them trap my bishop, basically. So it's pretty tricky to find another plan for white because I don't see how they're willing to regain the e4 pawn. And we have a pretty easy way to develop. Maybe even bishop b4 works better now. Just like putting pressure on the knight. It's definitely not a must. Bishop e7 was perfectly fine, or even bishop d6. Because now maybe he can play knight e2 and just protect everything. But I feel like it's a nice inclusion, at first at least. So now we can just keep on developing. Maybe knight c6 as well. Just kind of getting my pieces out. And on a3, I had in mind to take. He's most likely gonna take with a queen. I don't think taking with a pawn works great here because this just feels like an additional weakening, but maybe I'm wrong. We do knight a5, knight c4 as well. Looks pretty good, trying to get the blockade over d square. Would have started with queen d5 as well, that's right, but I have a feeling if we can get the knight there immediately, then this should be working pretty well. Hitting the queen, forcing queen c1 kind of, and then maybe even knight d5. We get some really nice blockade on the light squares. Yeah, I would say queen c1 makes more sense just to keep an eye on the bishop, but okay, this is even worse because it allows us to take and play knight d5 with tempo. Could also go knight d5 immediately, but I think I'll just do it this way so that we get to actually create a weak pawn on e3. Then we're gonna start attacking it, plus we also have a bit of a hidden threat with queen h4, which is gonna be not easy to deal with at least. Goes for the castle, but this allows the fork. So we get to win the exchange at least. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So now on queen e1, funny move, we could take on c2 even, I think. Winning another pawn, and yeah, on this, I think just forced to do this. Taking bishop is also not bad, but I think rook is way more valuable here. Yeah, he castled into the fork. Kind of unfortunate, but I had that plan beforehand, so now we could castle simply. We could break with c5. I think time to castle. Better, you know, just keep it simple and idea to do c5 next, open up the position. Goes h4, trying to trap the bishop, but I think that's still takeable because my queen is controlling that diagonal and can just keep collecting stuff. If knight takes on g6, can take it with a queen. We definitely have pretty large amount of pawns and yeah, just gonna like centralize my rook. Rook d8 maybe looks good. Idea to perhaps play c5 and continue expanding. If knight takes on g6, I think taking even with a queen is fine. We can take with anything basically. I would probably keep it simple and take it with a queen. Tries king h1. Honestly, even rook d5 is not a stupid move, though, just to get rid of that annoying f4 knight. But I guess maybe e5 is just better because we're kind of forcing the knight to move away, and in case of takes, we can trade a pair of rooks. We did all of that to play bishop h3, but poor guy because we have pawn takes intermezzo and we win the piece. Takes with the rook, like nothing happened. Of course, just queen g5, beating it. And we're just up. Full rook this time. Can still do e3, just sacrifice, open up lines. Gonna use the e file for the rooks. Yeah, also bishop e4 ideas. Could even do rook e1 just for the sake of trading pieces, but bishop e4 looks kind of mating. I don't see the mate, but that should generally mate. Okay, I'll just go for the simple rook e1 check, deflecting the queen. We take this, and then the checkmate is just much easier. Without his rook being on the board, a huge threat of bishop e4, and then should be a pretty easy mate, and just resigns, and we manage to get this one in. Okay, opponent going for the Larsen opening. Just gonna be playing like a Slav, just d5, c6. Try to get like a reversed London system. And just playing bishop f5, e6. Okay, I guess we're just not gonna be able to play this game, sadly. Or never mind, he plays knight f3. Looks like opponent's back. He was just making us wait a bit, and now he's back. All right, knight h4, hitting the bishop. How about we just go to g4? Will he play h3? Just go g3. So we're very much just gonna be setting up the typical London system triangle. Play like knight f6, bishop e7. You don't want to start with these because forget about pawn g7 and you lose the rook, and that's pretty bad. Just knight f6. And yeah, could do bishop e7, knight b d7. That's true. I think that's actually like what we're most likely to play. Castle short, maybe a5, a4, try to expand on the queen side. Whenever they do h3, we'll be ready to step back to g6, I think. That's sort of the plan. But still feel kind of strange about this game because I have a feeling opponent's just not working. His connection is not working, he's just not making any moves. I don't know. We'll watch on YouTube. Thank you. Enjoy. Okay, so opponent goes h3 finally. Just gonna step back. Then against g4. just go bishop g6, keep it simple. Or we can play knight e7, hit the knight. That's also a pretty interesting and funny idea to keep the bishop. Bishop f3, definitely happy to trade. Then just keep developing in normal fashion. Knight e7, always kind of develops here. And I think as a rule of bishop e7, short castle. Bishop d6 sometimes could be played, but most of the times in this structure, bishop goes to e7. We're playing with the black pieces, and generally d3, e4 would be a plan for white, so you don't want to get your stuff forked. Just gonna bishop e7 castle, and no matter what opponent does, basically, we just want to get ourselves developed, get a solid position, and only then we're gonna be thinking about ways to potentially make this game any interesting. Maybe like queen a5, bishop a3 could be an idea, or simply castle, rook e8, bishop d6, then e5, e4, something like that. We'll see depending on what they do. We just follow basic opening principles, get ourselves developed. Now, opponent plays queen e2, that's pretty clear indication that he's looking forward to castle long. And I think I'm just gonna make sort of a subtle rook e8 move. I don't want to scare him because he's preparing to go there. b5 would potentially scare him, so long castle is definitely quite bad in this position, and I just wanted to let him make that bad move because I noticed he's intending to play that with queen e2. And now we can just start attacking him basically. Just a4. a4, he could maybe play that himself, but bishop b4 looks strong. Idea to take and ba4. And after a4 takes, bishop a3, we more or less have like a mating attack. Here, important trick, if they take, we don't take back, but we play b4. And the knight has to go and just get the win. Now, take there first, go bishop a3, exchange their fianchetto bishop, and then play queen a5. I don't really care about that pawn. I could have defended it, but it's for me all about getting the attack rolling. I think that's good enough. So idea to take and play queen a5, queen a2. Just go for the checkmate. It is that simple. Just open up the file, exchange the fianchetto bishop, bring the queen. It happens in the Dragon Sicilian, many positions in chess. This is just like a pretty well-known pattern. And okay, let's see what one has in mind. I think you should try to take, okay, like when you're having these positions where you are worse, you're clearly worse, you may want to be worse and be up in material at least, because you don't want to be worse for free, right? That would be kind of logical, I would say. Bring the queen, threatening mate on a2, needs to protect that, and give a check first. Make the king a little passive. Maybe bring another piece with a knight. Could also do c5. Then he wants knight b5 maybe. Okay, I kind of rushed with this a bit, so maybe now time to think a little bit about the actual position. So yeah, I think we'll actually just defend the pawn. Not because I'm afraid of being down a pawn, but I think it will be quite useful to use for the attack. Just do c5, c4. Actually, maybe do c5, knight b5, and queen a6, and then c4. We see knight b2 from opponent. Pretty logical. Actually, e5 now could be strong move. Try to dislodge the knight. Knight e4 as well. Let's just bring the knight over. Like f3, knight g3, d3, knight check. Needs to play like rook c1 now, but thinking about something like c5. So like that I think is pretty logical, but then maybe can simply protect. Okay, we actually just managed to steal the pawn, win the exchange. I just take the free rook. And now it's gonna be once again about trading pieces, or could be a little bit fancy and go for the attack. Try to sack stuff. I'll show you a cool idea then. Knight c4, sacking the knight because we get the file. I think that's like a little bit unnecessary, but definitely doable. And yeah, now just preparing to play rook b8. Opponent's about to get mated. And he could maybe try like king c2, try to run away. But then maybe, I don't know, many tempting moves. So we'll start with this. Now also queen d3 ideas because the knight is pinned. Maybe actually opponent can try to prolong the fight by going queen c3. But, okay, not sure that will prolong the fight too long because he's in a legit zugzwang. Like, look at this. All of his pieces are pinned. Both knights. I'm simply ready to double up. This is pretty funny. a3, just rook b3. Everything still pinned. Actually, rook b3, king a2 might not be that simple to win. So let's do rook b6. So that on king a2, there's queen b3. Maybe. If that makes any sense. So, just gonna double up. Okay, give a check because now my queen was hanging. King b1. And okay, I think we can literally just double up. Threatening queen takes on b2. So rook a2 like only move. Okay, so he goes knight b4, saying that he's no longer pinned, but there is c5 move. And I think we managed to get rid of the knight. And after that, end up winning b2, so yeah, probably also it just runs out of time now and we managed to get this one in. So opponent opening up with d4. And yeah, I wanted to play like the kings in. I even forgot the repertoire. Just gonna be going for d5 and try to play a Slav, which is gonna be played in such fashion that we're trying to get a London system with reversed colors, but opponent going for my move order and playing the London system. This is getting interesting. So I'm still gonna do the Slav thing, and I'll try to show you guys an interesting idea that I think might actually give you pretty good win rate against the London, because I'm gonna explain this idea, which is also given in my course. It's just that I don't think most of the white players will remember it or know how to play it. Okay, just make a Luft. Why not? Luft looks fine. And I'm just preparing to meet e3, bishop d3 with knight e4. That's kind of the main idea that you want to remember. Just play knight e4, and it's gonna be pretty hard for them to deal with that. Okay, I'm gonna show you another trick. Trying to trap the bishop. This literally works 99% of the times. They never know it's coming. See? They never really defend against it. And now the bishop has no squares. You can do it in like many ways, whether you're playing the London as white or you're playing as black. They simply never see this coming. It's absolutely funny. Absolutely insane. Just gonna wait for and win the free piece. It's planning to run away, so gotta cash in the piece. And then, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna go bishop e7 and castle. Takes there. Me don't like that. So he wants that, which could be annoying. I'm just gonna go c5. So, okay, we're allowing him that pawn on b5, but as long as it's not gonna be annoying for us, like the pawn on c6, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. He can have the pawn, I can have the piece any day of the week. Maybe even of the month, you know. Just do bishop e7 castle. I never see it coming. I see what you mean with that, Gary, but it's actually pretty easy to counter. It's just that many people don't think about it. You just literally need to play a3 when that happens and you create a square. So could do bishop b4, take. Could also keep it simple. I think we just play bishop e7 and castle. Queen b6, try to win this. On knight e5, just gonna be exchanging. So we're up a piece. Remember, trade as many pieces as you can. It's gonna be pretty easy to convert. Takes with a bishop, just castle. Could do like queen a5, bishop d3, or knight e7 even. Knight e4 as well. Okay, let's actually give a little pin. I think you can tease him with a pin. Or, you know what? Keep it super simple. Just go for the trades. Trade everything, okay? You don't even need to genuinely think. This is just more on strategy. He attacks your piece, you move your piece, you try to trade his pieces. This is, you literally don't even need to think about anything when you're up a piece. Just try to keep your pieces intact and exchange everything that you can. So, see, I'm not even looking at that. I see a bishop, I want to exchange that bishop. As simple as that. He takes my pawn. I mean, we take back and then we exchange his bishop. It's okay, let's see what opponent has in mind. Spending some time on this decision, it can definitely... Yeah, he doesn't have a way to avoid this. Trade his bishop, again, we don't care. Just exchange whatever. And that's how we win. Alright, we exchanged. Now, see this diagonal, throw in a check. Hey, thank you for the sub, Maurfa. Appreciate the support. Welcome. Seeking h1, and now I could even infiltrate. You know, that looks pretty juicy. And by the way, I see Maurfa. I bet he's coming from YouTube, because I never saw him chatting here. But we'll see if that's true. So queen f2. Queen is actually pretty strong. Maybe hitting the pawn, maybe just annoying the king. Maybe going rook d8 and d. To be honest, queen f2 was like a bit unnecessary. More logical was rook f d8. And yeah, just gonna be simply recapturing stuff. Don't need to overcomplicate things. Just keep my pieces protected. If bc, just go dc. Yes, just again, same strategy. Keep my bishop protected. And could play rook f d8 next. Maybe bishop f5. Moving it away. Or maybe just preparing to push the pawn. Okay, see, we've got passed pawn. You maybe try to push the passed pawn. Take advantage of it. But first, need to activate all of our pieces and defend the d3 bishop in the process. So then push c3, c2. This is simply easy win. So he's trying to take control of that square. Well, that's not really a problem, but maybe we can try to just play rook ac8 and push the pawn anyways. Could also try to somehow checkmate him. I'm trying to come up with a way. Like this would be pretty tempting. Like queen c4, go rook d2. That's not that straightforward though, as I would like it. So, okay, I want to keep this super simple and straightforward. How do we do this? I think just queen d4. And we literally just try to push that pawn. Try to go c3, c2. I think that's the sort of cleanest and easiest strategy to apply here. He could play rook a3. I kind of doubt that he will, though. Rook a3 just to take control over the c3 square. And, okay, on queen e3c, opponent is now very friendly, trying to help us win this game because he knows we're about trading pieces. We're gonna trade. Just gonna continue with the strategy and push the not the hanging but the passed pawn now. Push it to c2, and from that point it will basically be easy win. Extra piece, that pawn on c2, that will be protected by the bishop, which is gonna make his rooks passive and will allow us to win his pawns one by one. So now we get to promote, trade a pair of rooks, of course, and give a check, hit a king, take this next, threatening all kinds of mating ideas. Queen e2 is a threat, picking up the rook. We win a4 as well on the very next move. And then we could either play for mate or try to exchange my opponent's rook. So yeah, he plays rook d2, just gonna start collecting the pawns. Rook b4, rook b2 is like pretty simple. Keep his pawn under control while also threatening to exchange his rook. So that will leave the second rank pretty vulnerable, and I guess we'll be able to set up a mating construction, but we don't have to because he finds the resign button and we managed to get this one in. Getting the black pieces, and let's see what opponent has in mind. He goes for the English opening, and against this, we're gonna play like c6, d5, a bit similar to the Caro-Kann if you may, but mostly just trying to play like a London system with reversed colors. Opponent takes on d5 pretty early, which is definitely not that critical, I would say, because it allows our knight to develop on a natural square on c6. Generally, we should be getting pretty easy development. Just gonna get the bishop out on f5. Maybe g4 is doable, but I'll just keep it similar to the London and do e6, develop my bishop, castle short. Plays with d3, which I'm happy to see because we have a little bit more space in the center now. He could combine this with a pretty annoying queen b3 move, which I think perhaps might be answered by queen d7. And okay, now just bishop e7. No need to go to d6 because the bishop will be a little bit restricted by the g3 pawns. And also one of their ideas is to break with e4 and then we could potentially get forked. So that's why the bishop on e7 is a bit better placed than on d6 in these structures. Could have also made a luft with h6, but I kind of feel like we should prioritize development at this point, and sure, after that, let's just make a luft. Why not? Just a little improving move. Can then bring the rook to the open file. It's a pretty slow position. Not much happening just yet, but notice that we're just focusing on developing, trying to do something every time we make a move, just improve our position little by little. Opponent may have ideas to go e4, which is indicated by his last move. So going d4 ourselves, we'll probably just run into knight b5. And we just drop the pawn basically. So I would consider a move such as bishop b4 as well. Pinning, but then a3 is a little annoying. Also queen a5 now that I'm thinking about it, with the idea to take and then play like rook fd8, kind of an intermezzo. I think that's also pretty interesting. I'll just do kind of a typical London move though, just keeping it very flexible, playing that in advance. It's useful even though he might not go e4. Still a pretty useful move to have. And just waiting to see what opponent has in mind. Because on e4, maybe we're gonna be taking and perhaps, yeah, could take, very well do that. Could also just go queen a5. I think both are fine. Maybe taking with bishop c5 is interesting. Hitting that f2 square. Wow, he takes it with a knight. That is definitely something I was not really considering because I'm not forced to take and he simply has a weak pawn on d3. So in fact, we could simply try to play around that. Still not very simple for me to make a move, but I guess I could just play knight e5. Try to centralize my knight. This bishop is a little bit annoying. But I think we can easily sort of shut it down with moves such as queen a5 and bishop e3. I mean bishop a3, trying to get rid of that. And could play like rook c8 as well. That's also something that I'm considering. And generally, idea is to go rook fd8 and just try to put pressure onto the backward pawn on d3. So opponent definitely taking some time here. He was probably expecting me to trade on e4. But yeah, there was no reason to do that since that would have only improved his pawn structure and just keep a solid position this way. It actually looks like opponent has some connection issues, which is a little bit unfortunate. But looks like he's switching, being on and off. Hope he makes a move and we get to actually show how to win this position. Would be a pity to have explained all of that and not get to show any of these on the board. NA internet, you think so? To be honest, I noticed that okay, lower rated players are much more likely to have connection issues. My guess is that mainly because they could be playing from the phone traveling. Like stronger players generally don't play on the phone and are super tryharding. I think that would be one of the main reasons. He ends up playing queen a2. Just gonna continue as I said. Queen a5. Idea to play the move bishop a3. Getting rid of white's most powerful piece. As long as we can trade that bishop, I'm gonna be a happy camper. We can avoid it with a3, but that will still weaken the b3 pawn maybe. We'll see if that gets to happen. Then I could probably just go rook ac8 before queen a6. Queen is actually quite safe on that square. I don't necessarily love that placement, but I think it's okay because he doesn't get to push b5. So yeah, I guess we're gonna see that on the board. Playing this first, trying to occupy the open file. Now if we take, I think we can just switch back and we lose a piece. So that's not really doable. Could play something like queen a6. Keeping an eye on this pawn. Trying to jabate like a knight c5 move, because we can take, and then the London bishop is alive. And other than that, simply preparing rook fd8. Slowly but surely try to increase that pressure against the isolated d3 pawn. So, yeah, problem with white's position is more that hard to come up with a constructive plan, and see, we managed to bait this successfully. And while taking with the bishop is fine, I really want to show you guys how to play these endgames. So, gonna force queens off and try to convert the extra pawn. Play like rook fd8 still, looking for to trade as many pieces as I can. c92. Just gonna be playing rook fd8, bringing my rook. Not afraid of bishop captures. Now, okay, giving up the bishop pair, but for the sake of exchanges with the extra pawn, I think it's definitely understandable, and gonna try to trade even more stuff. Hitting the rook and the pawn. This is under attack now. More trades. Definitely happy to see. And could try to activate the knight. Hitting this pawn as well. Bishop e5 gets played, and I'm afraid that will allow even more trades. He's forced to go back to c3. But then we're gonna be winning pretty big. And I think we can just push directly and win. Because king f1, d3. Looks like he cannot stop the pawn. Maybe he had bishop e3. I mean bishop c3, but get to win the free piece. Follow it up with the check. Then knight d4. Ready to hand the pawns. So how do we hand these pawns actually? It's just b5. Easier to hand the pawns when it's only one pawn. b5, knight a3 ends up winning it. Tries b6. Opponent knows all the tricks. Ready to collect it though. Now time to fix the rest of his pawns. Give up the knight and simply collect all the stuff that he has left on the king side. I think that's the easiest way to win, just collecting all of his pieces. Collect the f4 pawn. Push the g pawn. Push everyone. I'll actually try to deliver the rook mate. Because I figured out many of my students are actually lacking the technique of delivering king and rook checkmate. So okay, we'll actually let him take my pawn because he seems not to give up. We'll give him the pawn. And I'll try to like really get him closer to the middle. So like this basically. And I'll try to show you the move by move stuff. Not the most efficient way, but how I typically like to do it, okay? I'll let him get closer to the center. Even. Come on, come closer. What is he doing now? Not playing. What is this? Want to show you the move by move technique, but seems like opponent doesn't want to play anymore. Yes, he doesn't want to be centered. Plus, he doesn't want to make a move. Did he rage quit? I don't know. To me, it looks like he's still in game, but I don't know. Maybe he's like trying to figure out a stalemate trick or something. Show it in the analysis board. I could. He doesn't want to be given as an example. That might be right, Mr. Burfish. I think that's correct. But maybe he's gonna make a move, who knows. But I'm gonna be showing it in the analysis board anyways. I'm gonna be showing what generally ends up happening. So, yeah, it doesn't make any moves, and let's just say we get him into a position like this. And, okay, the position is this one. And if we're trying to, like, actually chase him, he's gonna do the zigzag and always run away. We check him here, he goes there. So we need to basically get into a position like this when it's our turn to move. And we want to give this check so that he has to drop one file. And we want to repeat this process till we get the checkmating position. So here, in order to get the right trick, see when white is actually trying to run away like this, we need to make a waiting move, which is what most of the people that don't know how to checkmate with king and rook miss. For them, it's all about trying to check immediately, which is not going to give you the mate, nor chasing the king. So, waiting move like this, cutting the king. Now, if they're going there, we can check. So they're going to lose a rank, and we keep repeating the process. And if they're going to the side, like this, eventually they'll come up in a situation like this, where it's a Zugzwang. They can only play there or voluntarily go down a rank. And after this, we can force them, go behind, and just keep using the process. And try to hunt their king like this. They're gonna go in the center, and remember that if you're going there, they're still gonna go for the zigzag. So this is not like only move, but you can basically decide when you want to make the waiting move. So this is a pretty good time, because if they're playing to f3, we give this. Kings are facing each other, so we win another rank. So they're gonna have to go towards that side, and same story. They can't go there because of check, so they'll keep going to the side, and we keep hunting them, and eventually they get the same Zugzwang as in the other corner. Only move would be here to keep the same rank, and now just keep repeating the process on and off. Can do that. They'll go to the center again. Make the waiting move. Keep hunting them like this. If they're going there, we always check. So keep hunting until they go to the edge. Now kings are facing each other, and it's our turn. We give a check, forced to go back, and again we can keep repeating the process. Make the waiting move. If there, it's checkmate, and just have to do the same chasing maneuver. Again, king d1 runs into checkmate, so after king d1, this is gonna be the final Zugzwang, where only square is this one, and now we can go for the checkmate. So that's basically the easiest way, I think, to checkmate with king and rook. For sure, computer does it much faster, but that's like the easiest and safest one to do, I would say. Hey everybody, thanks a lot for making it this far into the video. And if you're interested in checking out my London system course, will be the first link in description. So thanks again, and I'll see you around on the channel. Take care.